The fear of failure was a big one in the beginning. Because what happened to me was, I was 27 years old and I was like miserable. And you know, I just kept trying to figure out what my life was for. You know, because I discovered something, that the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. And at 27, I just hadn't figured out the why. And I walked into a comedy club October 8th, 1985. First time ever in a comedy club. Didn't even know comedy club existed. I actually went there on a dare. A girl dared me to go to this comedy club because she knew I was funny. I won amateur night that night, October 8th, 1985. I went to work the next day and quit my job. I won $50 and I went to work and quit my job. The day I quit, my boss, as I put my box on his desk and told him I was leaving to be a comedian, he talked me right out of it. He said, "Steve, you're not even funny." He said, "I've never heard you say anything funny since you've worked here. I've been selling insurance for 2 years." He said, "Are you kidding me? You've got a family. You put that stuff back on your desk and I'll give you your job back. But don't you ever come in here again with something ridiculous. You're gonna be a comedian." I took all my back to my desk and put that back on my desk. Dude named Russell Middlebrooks came up to me and said, "Hey Harv, I thought you was quitting today, man." I said, "Nah, I talked to Tom and he told me I wasn't funny." He said, "He don't know you." He said, "Dog, you the funniest dude I know." He said, "Man, see," and then he looked at me, he was so hurt. He said, "Damn, dog, I told everybody you was leaving today." He said, "Man, I can't believe you letting that tell you what to do." And he swole me back up because I had been deflated. And I took that box right back in and I said, "Tom, hey man, I'm really funny, I'm gonna make it." He said, "I'll tell you what, you leave out this door, don't ever come back in here again." So I tried to shake his hand. I said, "I'm not shaking your hand." He said, "You're making a huge mistake leaving your family out like this." He was right, I became homeless. And I made a big mistake. I became homeless. I lived in a car for 3 years. Probably about 20 years after that, he was at a show. And he said, "I came to the show, I saw this Steve Harvey." He said, "I couldn't believe it was you." He was backstage, he said, "Oh my God, I always knew you were gonna make it." Me and that dude, man. But overcoming that was my biggest. And then none of my family believed in me. The only family member I had that thought it was a good idea was my father. Because my father was really funny. He just grew up in a time for blacks that was very different. And he just said, "Son, if you think you can make it, get on out there and get discovered." My father was born in 1914. It wasn't good. My grandfather was a slave. My grandfather was born into slavery. My grandfather was a slave till he was 12. So my background of people becoming successful was like, and my dad was the only one who believed in me. Everybody else told me no. Gratitude is one of the most overlooked and key principles to your success. If your goal is to be a millionaire and you start out making $20,000 a year and then God gets you to 50, but you mad because you ain't a millionaire. Well, hold up, man. Do you not remember that just a minute ago you didn't have but 20? So you got to show gratitude for the 50. Then somehow, by the grace of God, you get to 150. It's people making 150 who used to be dead broke, mad because they not a millionaire. Hold up, partner. Do you remember when you was just making the 50? Now you done triple that, and you got to understand that there's joy in the journey. So if you don't show the proper amount of gratitude, you're never gonna be happy, you're never gonna be content, and after a while, man, God gonna get tired of you. It's like if somebody come over your house and borrow a cup of sugar every day. Every day somebody come to your house and ask you for a cup of sugar, and you give it to them, and they walk away and don't ever say thank you. How many times did this cat come to your house and get this sugar without saying thank you to you before you as a human being go, yo, my man, you come here every day, and I give you this cup of sugar. You ain't said thank you one time. Don't come by here no more. But through God's grace and mercy, he allowed us to keep coming back. But suppose you were grateful though. Maybe one time you go to God and ask for another 150 and he give you 500 because you didn't show gratitude. Maybe sometimes when the guy that kept coming by your house asking for the cup of sugar, if he would show gratitude, maybe you go, hey man, here go a 5-pound sack of sugar. That way you ain't got to come back tomorrow. But if you never show the gratitude, you never become the recipient of the grace. And the grace is what you need on top of that helps you get to the next level and take you place. My wife asked me the other day, because I just turned 65, right? And I was talking to my wife and I said, baby, I was just kind of got a little throwed off a little bit, because even I'm human, you know, I got a little throwed off. I said, baby, I just turned 65 and I really was wanting a little bit more to be popped off by now. She said, wait a minute, hold up, Steve. Wait a minute, hold up. When you was 30, where did you see yourself at 65? I said, well, I ain't see this. She said, exactly. She said, so you can want all you want, but you need to go outside and just drive around and go get in some of your cars and see how you fly and just take a look around, and now I think you'll be all right. And I went on and sat down. Albert Einstein had a quote. He said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. So whatever is in your imagination, God places the life he has for you in your imagination. Because your imagination is God showing you a preview of a coming attraction he has for you. Your imagination is real. Your imagination is not hocus pocus. If you keep imagining something, that's your Heavenly Father saying, hey, this is what I have for you. And you have to attend to that. Don't play your imagination off, because your imagination is a preview of a coming attraction God has for you. So if you keep imagining a business, you got to go for it. If you keep imagining a big promotion, you got to go for it. If you keep imagining a second home, you should go for it. If you keep imagining being rich one day, you should go for it. Whatever's in your imagination, it's not there by accident. It's there because that's how he shows you what he has for you. The problem is when you have stuff in your imagination, you have these big dreams, your problem is you tell it to the wrong people. If you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. And the reason people don't believe in your dreams is because God didn't show it to them. He showed it to you. They don't have to see it. Nobody in my family thought I should quit my job to pursue comedy. Not a single one of them except my father. Oh, everybody thought I was the biggest fool in the world, but they didn't see what I saw. I had been praying that God would show me what I was gonna do with my life, because up to 27, I had no idea. When I won that comedy competition, I said, this is it, this is what I'm gonna do with the rest of my life. I went in there and told it to them, you a fool. I'm a fool. No, I'm not a fool. I was just foolish enough to believe in my imagination. And I asked God, I just kept praying, God, show me, show me. So all through homelessness and all of that, God just kept talking to me. Hang in there. When it looked like I wasn't gonna make it, he just said, hang in there. I got something for you. And what God had for me was a life that was beyond anything I could have ever imagined. But it starts with your imagination. So if you think you ought to have a business, if I was you, I would go for it. Why not? What else you gonna do? What, you gonna keep working a job you don't like? What, you gonna be nothing? What?